Hey folks, I'm Joe, and today on Big Fast Customs, we're going to build some custom seats on a budget for the Sloppy Speedster, so stick around. Hey folks, guess what? I haven't gotten anything done. I know, I promised in the last video that this video was going to be finishing the Sloppy Speedster. I was going to get everything done and we're going to take it for a ride. Well, I really should stop telling you what the next video is going to be about because I keep messing that up. But you guys know how it is. Project cars are last on the list and there's just been too much going on and I really haven't had much time at all to work on anything. So I've gotten a little bit of stuff done. If I waited until I got the whole car finished up, this video wouldn't have come out for 3 months. So I figured we'll keep working on the Speedster. As I'm going through things and getting small stuff done, I'll take you guys along so you can see we're still making progress and hopefully we'll get it done sometime soon. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the seats. Now, the budget for the Sloppy Speedster is basically non-existent. I spent more money on it than I really should have, and I need to start kind of being creative with finishing up the things that I need to do. One of those things was seats. Now, usually I go to the junkyard and pick up something from the junkyard, but unless I wanted to go with the standard third row minivan bench seat that a lot of people use in their hot rods, there's really not a lot at the junkyard nowadays for seats. Bucket seats you can basically forget. If you find something, you're probably going to have to modify it quite a bit and then still have it recovered. So I went hunting around on Amazon just to try to see what they had for cheap seats, and I came across these. You might recognize them, they're boat seats. They fold. I don't need that function, but they do. These are made by Wise Professional Seating, and they were sort of on sale for 65 bucks a piece. So 130 bucks, I got 2 seats, and the reason I picked these particular seats is the cushions. I wanted, I'm not sure what color I'm gonna do the cowl and the hood and stuff yet. I've got a few ideas. All of those color ideas that I have will match along with this brown colored leather-ish material. I also like the stitching pattern on here. I thought it looked good. It's a nice, simple seat, and technically I could take it bolted in just the way it is, and it would probably be okay. Now, I've got a couple problems with the seats, and the brackets are one of them. Yeah, you could probably repaint these, maybe pinstripe them or something, I don't know, or leave them the way they are, but I just didn't like them. They're really kind of plain, and I wanted something a little flashier, I guess. And the back of the seat is a little low. I'd like it to be a little taller. So I started hunting around, and nothing I'm going to show you today I came up with myself. I found YouTube videos and people online that basically bought some new brackets and swapped these cushions onto them. So you can go on eBay, and there's a whole bunch of universal type bomber seat brackets. You drill them out for your cushions, swap these cushions onto those brackets, and then you got some bomber seat-ish side plates on your seats, and they look good. The problem is those brackets are about 150 bucks. This goes back to what I said about the budget. I need to save money. So I had a huge sheet of aluminum. It was an old sign or something I've had sitting around for a long time, and I decided I'm going to make brackets. Here's what I came up with. Get a little closer there. You can see they're not real special. They're still painted like a sign. But basically I used the original brackets off of these seats as a guide to make the new brackets. They're actually 2 inches taller. They're 2 inches closer to the front here. I've got these fancy speed holes I put into them, and you know, you can look with them next to each other. You can see that extra 2 inches is pretty nice. So this turned out exactly the way I wanted it. Now I'm not gonna polish these. These are aluminum. I could leave them brushed, or I could polish, sand them and polish them, but nothing else on the Speedster is polished up like that. So these are going to get sanded down, and they're going to get painted the same color as the cowl and the hood. That way the color can flow into the seats, just like it does on the front. The only change I might make, and we'll see, that might be later, is you see all this open space in here? I might make a little plate or something that goes across in here, but right now I think they're okay. I know that the gas tank is going to go behind the seat, so maybe I don't need something to fill in the look of that area. But these were really simple to make. It was basically hand tools that I already had. The only tool I would consider really a specialty tool was my sheet metal brake. So I've got a Harbor Freight sheet metal brake over there. It worked just fine to bend this aluminum for these brackets. If you don't have a sheet metal brake, then you'll probably have to buy the brackets. Or find a friend with a sheet metal brake. Or buy a sheet metal brake. That's probably the best option. You should do that. Because I use mine all the time. But other than that, I mean, you could drill the holes. I've got a hole punch that I used. And the speed holes, I actually did with a knockout punch. I got this for Christmas, but you can get these on Amazon for about 35 bucks. They come in, it's got like 4 different sizes in there, so you can see I've got, different size holes in here. But all in all, it turned out pretty good, so I thought I'd show you guys how I built them, and then maybe you want to build some too. So let me get these out of the way. I'll just leave this seat right here. And you can see, basically, here's one of the original seat brackets I took off the seat. There's two bolts in the top half of the seat, and there's only 3 in the bottom. There's 4 holes, but there's only 3 bolts in the bottom. And basically, I just used this with some poster board. And you can see, maybe you can see. So you can see the outline of the original bracket, basically. Just kind of use that as a guide, and then I extended it up 2 inches. I extended this out 2 inches. For the curve in here, I used a Rust-Oleum paint can, and then I used some sockets to do these curves, and then just a straight edge to join them together. This bracket and this bracket stayed in the same place. These mounting holes stayed in the same place. These 2 mounting holes moved up the extra 2 inches so that the top of the seat can be moved up. And then I just laid out my speed holes on the back there, and that's it. I mean, it was a real simple template, and we basically just transferred that onto a piece of aluminum sign. I don't remember what the sign was. It said something like chemicals, danger, don't steal this sign, something like that. But you can see this is, I've got my lines on here for my sheet metal brake. I've got, I don't know if you can see the little green dots. Basically, I got some center punch marks for popping out my holes. And yeah, it's really simple to do. So for the mounting holes, I used this. You can use a drill, but I've got this hole punch. This is actually an Eastwood. They've got cheaper ones at Harbor Freight. I think they're like 35 bucks. The ones at Harbor Freight do have this right size punch. I don't remember what project I bought this for, but I needed something that had a deeper throat, and this Eastwood one fit. I think this was 70 bucks, but that was a few years ago, so I'm not sure what the price on them is now. But if you don't have one of these, or you've never seen one, basically you center punch where you want the hole to be, line it up, and it just pops a nice little hole in there. So all of my mounting holes for the cushions, I punch with these. Get that all done. There we go. So now we've got all of our mounting holes are already in there. And now I can go throw this on the sheet metal brake and bend it. You can also see I've got the green dots for my speed holes, but I'm not doing the speed. I don't cut the speed holes out until after I bend it. You can see this one's already been bent 90 degrees both sides. I've got my mounting holes already popped in this one as well. And then I'm going to go, basically, I wish there was a better way that I could do it, but my knockout punch set, it comes with 2 mandrels and 4 different size punches. The smallest size punch uses the smallest mandrel. I have a drill bit to drill out to put that mandrel through. That's no problem. The problem is I don't have a drill bit that'll drill out for the larger mandrel. So basically, I drill all the holes, then I use the small mandrel and punch the smallest size hole all the way across. Then I go back with the size I actually want and kind of manually line them up and punch the larger size holes. So it's a little more involved, but it's basically the best way I got to do it right now. So I'm gonna go bend that other bracket in the sheet metal brake, and I'm gonna drill my holes for the knockout punch, and then we'll come back and I'll show you guys how to use the knockout punch. All right, folks, I brought you in a little bit closer. So I've got all my holes, pilot holes drilled in my brackets, and I've got my knockout punch set. Like I said, so the smaller mandrel can fit through these pilot holes, but the larger mandrel, that's quite a bit bigger. I don't have a drill bit to do that. So what I do, you take these punches. If you've never seen one of these knockout sets, basically it works like this. You got a bolt, or the mandrel. That's the back side, or whichever side you want. And you can see this side's, that's your cutting side. And you're gonna put it on here, and this one's threaded. And as you tighten it, it cuts whatever's in between there. So we're gonna go ahead and put it through here. Now, I don't know if it's okay to use a impact to do this, but that's what I use. It goes through pretty quick. So we tighten that on there. Let me see if I can get close enough so you guys can watch it go through. Okay, ready? That's it, all the way through. So basically now I have to take this apart. You could probably get a couple holes done before you need to really clean it out, but I clean it out every time. Like I said, now I'm gonna have to go through all of these pilot holes are gonna be cut to this size. And then if you look at the large mandrel, you can see it's not the right size for it. So I kind of manually place it in position and then crank it down to cut the larger holes. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop all these holes. We'll put this on time lapse, and then when I go to switch to the other mandrel, I'll show you some of that too. All right, folks, you can see I've got all of the smallest size hole punched in here. Like I showed you before, basically, we'll have to go from this side. But basically, that's too big for that. So when I start doing the larger size, I've got to basically hold it in position and wait until the cutter actually bites into the aluminum, and then it'll hold it in place until I can hit it with the impact. So there's 3 different sizes here, and why don't we go straight for the biggest one? Just because. And that's going to go right down here. So position that so you guys can see it. Basically, I just kind of line it up by eye. It might be a little off, but you know, I try. And then we bring this down and tighten it, and that's it. It shouldn't move until I've got the impact pulling that hole out of there. So let's see. There you go. We got a bigger hole. Much bigger than those. That is 1.25 inches, I think. Yeah, 1.25 inches. So just like before, I'm going to go through these and I'll cut them all out in time lapse, and then I'll bring you guys back when we're ready to put them on the seats. And look, I'm making washers. Okay, that's it. I've got 1.25 inch holes here. These two are 1 inch, 3/4, and 1/2 inch. And both of them are done. Yeah, so they both look good. Sorry, show it on the camera this time. So they both look good. I'm going to clean the table off, and then we're going to get them mounted to this other seat. Okay, so now it's time to take the seats apart. Like I said, there's only 2 screws here, and then there's 3 screws on each bracket on the bottom. One thing to keep in mind is this rearmost screw is a fine thread, and there's actually a nut inside the base. The nut does seem to stay in place when I did the last seat, but you just got to pay attention that that screw goes back into that spot. So let's start off doing the top first. And actually put it like this. Yes, I could use a power screwdriver, but sometimes I like to just use hand tools. There's basically just a big coarse thread screw. Another one. Okay, so we got the top cushion disconnected. The bracket does tend to stick to the vinyl a little bit. Let's go ahead and replace it. One more thing. The seat cover actually can be changed. So if you wear these things out eventually, you can change the seat covers. But I hope not to wear it out that quick. Not going to crank the screws down all the way. We're going to put them pretty snug, but we want to be able to move a little bit if we need to. So, one. Okay, so we've got the top on. Set this over here. Stay. Now we'll take the brackets off the bottom. I'm going to leave these protective pieces on the front for now, just to protect the seat, really. I am certain I could jam it into something trying to install it that would tear the vinyl, and I don't want to do that. So again, the front two are that coarse, big coarse thread. And then when we get to this back one, the back one's a extra long fine thread, and there's actually a nut down in here. So come on. There we go. These brackets get stuck to that vinyl, so just be careful taking them off. Those two, and now the long fine thread, machine thread, whatever you call it. Okay, that bracket came off easier. And now, I like to get these rear ones started because the vinyl tends to hang over the hole, and you gotta make sure you get the bolt into the hole without pinching the vinyl, or you won't be able to get it on all the way. Okay, I can feel that it's already grabbed the nut, so I'm going to switch over to the other side. Again, make sure we get the vinyl out of the way. And it has already grabbed the nut. Now we can run the front ones in. It is a little tight getting these back on here, but You'll be squishing in the side of the seat cushion a little bit. Nothing that really causes any damage. It looks decent when you're done, but when you take the old brackets off, the cushion kind of starts spreading out a little bit. Okay. Now, before I do the final tightening of all these screws, I want to set it up on the table here and just make sure everything looks right, and then we'll tighten everything up. So, it looks straight. The sides look good. Top looks good. So I think that's good. I'm going to tighten up all the screws, and then I'm going to pull off this leather strap here. This is used to, when you fold the top down, you can snap it together. We won't be using that, so I'm going to take that off, tighten up all the screws, and then these seats should be ready to go into the car. The bottom mounting is a square pattern, you know, like a standard boat pedestal. These are threaded. They give you some screws. There's a whole lot of holes in here, so you can, I think what I'll do is I'll probably make a plate that bolts with this square pattern, and then I'll have my tracks near the outside. I've got a set of universal tracks that I hope will work with this. If not, I'll have to buy something else, but let's get these all tightened down. Take a different screwdriver to take that off. Smaller screwdriver. Let's get these tightened. Okay, let me grab another screw. Pop that off. And then I'm going to leave the screw in this snap. And then I'm going to snap this onto here. And we'll hang on to that in case we want to use that for something else later. But you can see better on this side because there's no writing on it. But basically it's a nice clean look. Depending on what color you want to paint that, or if you wanted to polish it, it could look good. Maybe some of those big old style aircraft rivets somewhere in here, or add an extra panel on here. Anything you want to do to spice them up a little bit, you know, that's on you, how you want to make them look. All right, there we go, folks. We've got two bomber-ish looking seats for about 150 bucks. I think that's a pretty good deal. I think the style is going to fit in with the Speedster, and I think if you got like a Model A coupe or a roadster pickup, something like that, I think this style of seat would really work good for those kind of cars. But, you know, that's up to you. If you liked it, build yourself a set. But make sure you like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content, guys. You have been awesome. A lot of you guys have subscribed, you've put likes, you've made comments, and the channel's still small, so I do try to answer back to everybody who leaves a comment. So the next video is going to be something about the sloppy Speedster. I'm not going to say exactly what, but it will be about the sloppy Speedster and trying to get it back together. So hopefully a couple weeks we'll have something else out, and I hope you guys will tune into that too. Thanks for watching, guys.